Bendiciones. Alafia, everybody. We don't serve Orishas just because we like them. And, this is a concept that you can also apply to other aspects of traditional, uh, African traditional spirituality. You know, you can easily insert we don't serve Loa just because we like them. You can easily insert said tradition, you know. Um, and there's a very important reason for this, family. I noticed a lot in the new age world of spirituality and what people are doing. You know, they have this notion of like you can just do whatever you want. You can contact whatever spirit you want. You know, you can contact them and deal with them however you want. Feed them whatever you want. Feed them whatever you like. There's all these different nonsensical nautical nonsense that goes on today. And I'm here to tell you, um, you don't serve spirits just because you like them. You know, there is a process behind knowing what spirits a person should be going to. And this is something that's true no matter what African traditional religions you're going into. You know what I'm saying? There's all kind of ceremonial things and stuff that happens behind different traditions to know what spirits a person should be going to. You know, um, just because you had a dream about Oshun doesn't mean that you need to give Oshun an offering. You know, just because you seen an old man at the crossroad that you perceived as Papa Legba doesn't mean that Papa Legba wants an offering from you or that you need to give him an offering. You know, there's a plethora of reasons why spirits come through dreams, why spirits manifest in the physical. There's a plethora of reasons for why these things happen. You understand? Um, and for the novices or the people who are new to this stuff, or maybe a person has been in spirituality for a while, but not African spirituality, it may be difficult for them to understand this concept because they don't have the full spectrum of the conversation and they don't have the tradition in a viewpoint of its totality to understand the concepts of why things are the way they are. And this is how people end up coming into African traditional religions and African traditional spiritual systems, and they end up falling into very precarious situations. They fall into situations that are not comfortable, that are dangerous dealing with spirit because they're not understanding the spiritual politics behind the spirits that you go to. You see. Um Now, speaking of it from an Orisha tradition perspective, speaking in Ifa, every person is born with a destiny that they chose before they got here. And within that destiny, the spirits that they were to work with are included, along with some spirits that may be incompatible with that person. See, people don't know that. You know, a person could have been born with certain spirits that they are to go to according to Odu, because Odu is what really is telling you this. You're really learning this information through who? Orumila. Orumila is the one who is revealing um these these pieces of information to you, you know, and um from revealing your head Orisha to your warrior Orisha, or the Orisha on your feet, or your mother and your father Orisha, from everything to revealing your Odu and what Orishas are speaking in there and what they did and how they interacted. All of these things Orumila is showing you. And even within that, there could be incompatibilities. And so a person could be going consistently to an Orisha or an entity within that spiritual spectrum that they are actually incompatible with. And it might be an entity that they really only should be going to when Orumila marks that within the Ebo. So when Orumila marks that as a spirit that has to be fed for this Idafa, then that's when you deal with that spirit. But you're not really dealing with them. The priests are dealing with them to feed it. And, that might be the length of how you deal with that entity, right? And that will be very different than maybe the Orisha that you have at home that are consecrated, or the ones that you go to in nature because it was marked that you should be doing that. You know what I'm saying? Um, and Orishas can come to people for different reasons. Like I said, just because Oshun came to you doesn't mean that it's for you to feed Oshun or deal with Oshun. A lot of people don't know Oshun and Oya have a connection where they look after the other's children. So you seeing Oshun could just be auntie coming to you on behalf of your mother Oya to look after you, or to show you a thing that you may have needed to see, or to get you to connect to some aspect that Oshun represents for you to be able to progress in life. It doesn't just mean to go to give out a full offering to Oshun. No. These are things that are marked in Ebo. You understand? So people often have this misconception of, they just want to go to spirits just because they feel like they connect to them, or they like them. And that's not the case. Even within different aspects of voodoo, you have spiritual quadrants or spiritual courts where priests will map out the spirits that you should be interacting with, where priests will literally say you need to be connecting to Saint Martha, you need to be connecting to Baron de Cementerio, and you need to be connected to Maman Brigitte. And they will tell you that direct. And they even might say, and be careful of these other energies, because, maybe if you connect to this other entity, it may bring out negative aspects in you that you might not be able to control. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they might say, be careful when you're dealing with, any of the Ogus. These are things that can really come out in divinations and with priests and things like that. Because different people have different contracts with different spirits before they get here. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it's like that in the Orisha tradition. You don't go to Orishas just because you like them. You know what I'm saying? There might be things spoken of in your Odu that say be careful of dealing with fire. Because fire, when you deal with fire, it might put you in a state of hyperaggression or things like that. These are things that come out in the Odu. So now that person may be, warned to say, maybe you don't need to be going to Shango every 4 days. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't need to be going to Shango every week. Because Shango could be triggering things in you that's making you more on edge and hypertension throughout the day. And that's not what you need. Probably you need to go to these cooler energies when they probably might have said you deal with Obatala on that basis, or you deal with Yemoja on that basis. You dig what I'm saying? This is like things that people learn in the tradition. You know, and this is why even when you come into certain traditions, they might tell you not to even go into other traditions. There's people that get initiated into Ocha and they might get told that they should go into Palo. And then there's other people that can get told they shouldn't go into Palo. Just don't even go into that whole tradition or go into that whole tradition. You understand? Just because you like a spirit doesn't mean that that's a spirit that you should be feeding. And I'm telling you this to ensure that, you don't go out into the world and make foolish mistakes or put yourself into danger dealing with things that you ought not to be dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Um, even in voodoo, even in Haitian voodoo, you got different paths. Guinea, Sampuel. You understand? It's different. There's different nations of spirits. Now go. And people coming into these traditions have affinities to certain nations more than others. You know? But this is a phenomenon that we see across the board. This is a phenomenon in African traditional religions that we see across the board of people sticking to the energies, the spirits that are in alignment with them, that are compatible with them, and even that they pre-chose, that they pre-selected on their path towards destiny, because they made those choices before they even got here. So that's just some words of wisdom, through experience and what I've even learned from elders, things like that. Just because you feel a so-called connection to an entity does not mean that that's the entity you should be feeding. Um, when in doubt, you should go to a priest to get a reading on that, within that tradition, and see what it is that's going on, and they will make it make sense for you and put it into perspective. Okay? And so those are my words of wisdom I leave y'all with, and I'll catch you on the next one. Or Dabo.